Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live Market Analysis ASX edition. My name is Carl Capolingua. I'm the market analyst over here at Think Markets Australia, and it's a pleasure to be with you as we delve into the depths of your portfolio. We're going to kick out some of those that aren't going so well. We're going to find some to replace them with some amazing stocks I'm sure we're going to find today. The agenda for today, and a little bit of housekeeping, says that we are going to take your questions. I'm just figuring out what the hell we're doing here today. It's your questions. It's my analysis. Send them through. Whether you're watching me on Zoom, you have a chat window somewhere there. I can already see some people doing that, or the Q&A window. And if you're watching me on any of the streaming services, that is via YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, you have the ability to contact me as well. It'll be charts and analysis where possible. Let us head over in that regard to the charts, and I want to just get through a few. There's been a few building up from Facebook, and I've been neglecting them. So I've got Matthew here asking for Lake LKE, which is a lithium company. I'm going to do these very quickly, because I know we're going to have plenty of requests today. So the way it works is, if I like the chart, we'll go look at the fundamental valuation. If I don't like the chart, well, I don't see any reason to go and investigate it any further. Not to say the chart can't get better, and we might look at it next week, the week after, the week after. So continue to attend, continue to ask the questions. All right, so first place I go is my long-term trend. Visually, it's very important to have a system where you can get through a large list of possibilities and turn them into a small list of things you might actually trade very quickly. For me, it is those trend ribbons. Nothing is more, rapid as seeing that dark pink and going, no, don't really need to look at this right now. If that long-term trend zone is orange, I might then drift my eye down to the light or the short-term trend zone, which is green, and then I might look at it. But we're still long-term downtrend there, so I'm still concerned about this one, because what we find in the long-term downtrends is that trend zone does offer what we call dynamic resistance. If you don't believe me, even when it's not dark pink, it still offers dynamic resistance. And on the way up, we find it tends to offer dynamic support. Maybe not a fantastic example here. When we do break beneath it and then we fail to get above it convincingly, that's usually the end of the line. Short-term trend is heading up. The price action's pretty good. Price action is where I'll go next, okay? But I'm not drawing the lines on the chart until I have decided based upon the trends that it warrants drawing lines on the chart. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go down here. And with that, we do have a tick there, because good price action, we know, looks something like this, where the points of demand drawn in green tend to come in at or above the points of supply drawn in red. Okay, so these are points of supply. How do you know there was supply there? And again, we are stylizing. We are assuming that this price action here has a bunch of candles in between it. And the way we're drawing this price action in, much like I've already done, is to say that your peaks or your points of supply are the highest point between short-term uptrends and short-term downtrends, and your troughs or your points of demand are your lowest point between your short-term downtrends on the left and short-term uptrends on the right. So I'm just proving to you that the price action I've drawn there, which is the one you need to remember, is really just summarizing what the candles are saying. So when we find that the last point of demand, that's the green zone, tends to come in at or above the second from last, in this case, point of supply, that is a good thing for your price action. So if we label these out as POS, POS, POD, POD, and POD, that's good price action. What is not good price action? Well, obviously, if you're going long, this would be bad price action for you. That's the first thing to say. But if you're going long, I don't even want to see this. This is not what I want to see. This is a very indecisive market. So I would avoid, if we were to call this price action over here, scenario 1, and this one over here, scenario 2. Or we prefer scenario 1 to scenario 2. We have scenario 1, so that's okay. Next thing I want to finish with is my candlesticks. And I want to see predominance of white candles. this is very encouraging. So through here, this is all very good. We've got some black candles coming in. Why are the black candles coming in? Black candles represent supply. They're coming in because of this zone. No surprise to me. And probably we're also at a point of supply from the past. Okay, so there's your point of supply from the past, tending to act as a point of supply in the future. So everything I can see on this chart is making a lot of sense to me. This looks very warm. It's not very hot. I like the volume. I like the interest. You can see subdued volume for an extended period as the price was falling. Finally, the volume did come in, the interest come in. We're seeing the market saying, look, I might actually pick some up here. I might remove some of that supply. I might become involved. I think we need to stop there. I don't think this is a buy. I don't think there's enough just in it. If I go really to the end of it and say, those candles are so amazing, there's demand there today, and I need to therefore be drawn into the market. I could, however, become interested if I was to see a candle that looked very similar to this one. Well, not really that one, because it's about to change in a second, to this one here. And if I was to see that candle, won't let me drag it any closer. Closing above, you can see the point of supply there. That high there is 67 cents. Okay, this high here is 67 cents. So clearly, 67 is what we need to deal with. Okay, so if we go 67, close above that, I'm going to start to get interested. So let me label this so I remember for what I said this time for next time. And if I were to see a close greater than 0.67, I could happily add 1/3 risk on this on the basis that I suspect by then the long-term uptrend will have turned to amber. That would be important for me to see, and I can't see the future. The price action is very, very good, and the candles would have righted the wrongs that we are starting to see in this supply. The supply is at a very logical place, okay? Can I go hold for now? I think I can go hold on the basis of these two wonderful big white candles here. If you do have late resources, that hold would, I guess, terminate if we were to close. I'd be nervous if we closed beneath the low of this big demand candle, because the only way, and I'm talking about this one here, the only way you can get that candle is if there's a great deal of excess demand in the system. Okay, why is it there? I don't know. I don't care. Not interested. It is just there. That day, let's just check out the volume, okay, to get an idea of just how much turnover there was, how much demand was coming in to remove the supply. Don't forget, volume is buying and selling. So for every buyer, there was a seller, but we can see how the sellers were backing off. Very important to say it again. High volume doesn't mean more buying than selling, because there was a white candle, okay? There was, for every buyer, there was a seller to match that up. But what we can see with that white candle and the volume is that the supply that was in the market, selling to every buyer, every share that was sold was bought, it was running away, and the demand was happy to pay more. This is how you put volume and price action together. You can't look at volume in isolation. It's meaningless. Price action is valuable in isolation. That's the difference. But volume only starts to have value when you combine it with price action. You won't read that in any technical analysis textbook. Okay, as long as we stay above that low, I'm pretty happy. That's where the demand started to come in. I'd start to get out if we closed beneath 57. Okay, so I'd say close less than 0.57, and you are looking to do something that resembles that. Okay, I don't think I could be any more accurate on late resources for you. Will I look at the Excel spreadsheet? Oh, look, it's a possible buy. So let us head over here and see if we have any broker coverage on it. We may well do. I'm surprised and shocked that we have 5 brokers, in fact, covering late resources, but I can see here we don't have a lot of detail. And obviously we don't have any earnings per share coming up, so I can't give you a valuation. I'm not going to do what I would call the fundamental analysis of the company, which is going to the website, downloading all the ASX documents, looking through line by line what they're doing, where they're doing it, because we just don't have time in this particular format, okay? Probably wouldn't do it anyway just yet because I don't think it's compelling enough. But hey, where I can give you that analysis, I will try and give you that analysis today on charts which look half decent. This one looks half decent. The next place we're going to go, now that we know what we're doing, I'll be able to get through these a bit quicker, I think. And this one actually is half decent again. Also from Matthew, in that it is attempting to turn the corner. It's a little bit further along than the last one, like resources, because we can see that the long-term trend has indeed turned to amber. Okay, so we are starting to change that trend. What that means when we go to amber is that the long-term trend isn't getting worse anymore. Okay, it's still bad, but it's not getting worse. Okay, the moving averages have started to converge together for a minimum period of time. And I can't remember how I programmed it, but it might have been 3 days or 5 days. Okay, 5 candles. So potentially the long-term downtrend is coming to an end. Potentially, we don't know. Sometimes these things can take time, and you can see again if we go on the way up, it's a reliable zone that we need to respect. So what I would like to see on this one is potentially further confirmation that the long-term trend zone is going from that dynamic resistance to dynamic support. That thesis would be supported by continued good price action, looking something like that. The price action up to this point is actually quite good, and the candles are very encouraging. We're seeing some big white candles coming in, and this gets back to what I taught you in the last stock, where if you find these big white candles, you can often use them obviously as entry signals. That's wonderful, but potential exit signals as well, because the excess demand that created those candles, think about it, it must have been the case. Especially, I've taught you today also, so we try and give you one of those takeaway points every time we catch up. Today, it's about how we use price and volume together. Plenty of demand came in on that day, motivated demand. And as long as we stay above that, I think we're fine. So I'm a happy holder here on PPK, Matthew. I don't think I'm a buy. I've told you I still need to see a little bit of confirmation because it takes time to turn these trends around. And Matthew might be saying, hey, Carl, why don't I just buy it now? If you think it's half decent, I can buy it now at 180, right? And I'll be in. If I wait till $2 when you're confident enough, I would have given up 20 cents. And I say, well, hey, I'm happy to give up 20 cents in the whole scheme of things, okay? Because if this thing goes back to $15, I won't care if I gave up 20 cents to be more confident that it could actually go to $15, okay? So a couple of warm ones there, Matthew. Do I dare head over to here? And I know I've got a monster number of stocks to get through today. So let us do this. It will appear on your screen in a second. I'm going to be an absolute champion at changing over the screens today. And it doesn't look like we actually have any analysis there either on that one, Matthew. Okay, let us, that's one Facebook down. Let's head over to the Zoomers. First in on the Zoomers today is going to be ALK from Anonymous. And Anonymous got in. Hey, Anonymous, stop being anonymous. Type your name in. It's not that hard. And then I'll know what to call you. Alkane Resources. Gold company, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. It did well as the gold price was going up. Maybe let's have a quick sneaky peeky at the gold price. If you want more than a sneaky peeky, tune in on Thursdays when we have a look at all that macro stuff. And if I go to metals here, we're going to get gold. And we see how gold has started really to turn the corner. You can see how the short-term trend has gone from up and supporting price to now really starting to be down and resisting price. The candle here, which would be, I guess it's, will that be Monday? So it'll be Friday's candle, is half decent. And it provides a little bit of a line in the sand under which gold doesn't want to get. Okay, again, we talked about this idea of demand candles, their importance, and setting stop losses or having exit conditions underneath them. So that low there, 1951, let's just say we wouldn't want to see gold close below 1950 because we're probably then going to see a deeper recession into that long-term trend zone where we would start to reassess again the possibility for a bounce with the right price action and the right candles. I started to get bearish on gold at the record show right here in those Thursday sessions. So if you're still holding your gold stocks, you could have had over 2 weeks further notice that something wasn't right with gold if you just tuned in on Thursdays, okay? And I said on that day, go find the recording, just be careful with your gold companies, okay, from here. Something's not right with the gold price. And then silver there was a far deeper supply event with that big black candle. But hey, we're not here to talk about silver and gold. We're here to talk about Alkane, and this may extrapolate out for some of your other gold companies that we may look at today. But we do have problems on the underlying commodity. What's the long-term trend? It's amber, but it is getting better. You can see it's trying to get itself back into the green by being amber and converging together. The short-term trend, much like the gold chart, has turned lower, and that's disturbing. And in terms of the price action, we are very clear-cut lower peaks and lower troughs. The candles are predominantly black over the last month or so, and therefore I can find not a single reason in the world to buy Alkane at this stage. Would I own it? I'm struggling to find a reason to own it at this stage. The only saving grace really is that it is coming back to this long-term trend zone, which we know was absolutely bloody awesome at acting as an area of dynamic supply in the past. And we tend to find that once we break above it, particularly decisively, as I would classify that as a decisive break, we tend to act as support going forward. If you don't believe me, you don't have to, you wouldn't believe me on that one. It didn't work there. And let me just say that Alkane is a pretty awful stock, isn't it? I mean, if you've owned Alkane for any period of time and worked there, it worked here on the way down. But look how sideways and how choppy and how volatile this one is. I don't need to say any more about Alkane. It is a great big pass from me. Anonymous. Let's go to Ben with IPD, which is heading in a better direction. Obviously, we've got a nice move to the upside, but starting to pull back. I wonder if it's also, I wonder if it's a gold stock. No, Impedimed, it's a medical stock, but looks similar to a gold company, doesn't it? What we do like here, of course, are these big gap up, white candle days. And I do say once you see those days, you're just waiting for a buy. And I know we must have covered this in the past, and I would have said something like, if you see the right candles in that green zone, and a move back to price action, that's when you could buy it. Hey, I wasn't that far off, to be honest, because this is a high peak and trough in here. And I know that's a historical drawing, but if we go back to here and draw in what actually did happen, by the way, probably there and to there, and whilst the candle didn't necessarily come in the green zone, this candle here is the buy. That's your buy right there, confirmed by this. So this one here would have been, and I would have discussed this on the day, plus 1/3, and this would have been another plus 1/3, and this one here is the most massive of plus 1/3. Okay, probably breaking even on one of those. Did you have reason to get out of it before today? I think you did. Okay, because I think we would have been looking at something like a level there, and I would suggest to you that on this day here, you are looking at minus 1/3. Okay, minus 1/3. That gap there and drops probably another minus 1/3. And I would say at this stage, we're holding no more than 1/3 of this position if you were to get into all three of those. Where would we exit the final third? I'd be looking at the low of that candle there, which is 13 cents. And I would say on a close less than 0.13 equals minus the final 1/3. Now, if you haven't followed the model through and you bought, and you didn't sell a single share, it's up to you to decide based upon the analysis, not even my analysis, your analysis on the candles, on the price action, what to do next. I don't mind having a little bit of skin in the game on this one, just on the basis that the short-term trend is still quite strong. I wouldn't say very strong, but quite strong. It's changing, and the long-term trend has turned to the upside. Okay, but I'm going to go no more than 1/3 is probably where we want to be on that one right now. Ben, CCP. Let's zoom that back out to the normal. It's always important to head back out to our normal zoom range. Well, would this be a look for a long or a short, Ben? So I can see great evidence here for a short. Okay, long-term trend convincingly down. Short-term trend convincingly down. Price action. Let us say that we've got this, and maybe one higher point of demand in the offing. But it is not great, let's face it. It's not the clean price action I showed you at the start of this presentation. And I'd say the candles are still predominantly black. So if I was to give this a score out of 10 for buying, I'd probably give this about a 2 out of 10. If I had to put percentages on where I think this is going to go next, and please keep in mind, for everything I'm going to say today, I have no idea what's going to happen next. I cannot predict the future. And I know, and I do watch certain media outlets where a company like this is talked about as being a fantastic company to buy under certain circumstances. It may well be. It may well turn out for that to be the case. But I can assure you, before it does go from 16 to 30, it will do the things I talked to you about. It will start to make higher peaks and higher troughs. It will start to have white candles. It'll start to penetrate through those dynamic supply zones of those trend ribbons and turn them around, okay? And then is when I will look at them. And if I have to pay 20 instead of 17, I'm okay with it. Some people can't do that. They need to buy it at 17, but somebody said it was cheap and it would be good under certain circumstances. That's not me. The price of the company is irrelevant. It's not how you keep score. Most people, when they're investing, listen to me here. Look at me. I'm looking at you. I'm making eye contact. Most people, when they're investing, the way they keep score on their stocks is by what price they got in and what price it is now. That's how they keep score. The price I get in is irrelevant. All I care about is how I run my profits and cut my losses. Stop keeping score by what price you got in at, okay? And if you can change your way of thinking to not keeping score using that methodology, you won't care whether you get in at 20 or whether you got in at 17, okay? Especially if it goes to 30, very important. Okay, if I had to give this a portion percentages to these as to where I think it's going next, it's just what I think, I can never know, is that I would say, well, 0% buy. I mean, that's obvious. Then I would go hold. I can go maybe, let's go be very generous here and say 15% hold. And then that gives me an 85% sell. Based upon what I can see. And as the chart changes and as demand supply changes, those percentages will change. So don't say, don't come back in a year's time and it's $30 and say, hey, Carl, you said it was 85% sell. Sure, I said 85% sell based upon what I can see. But before it got to $30, it did all the right things, which changed it to 100% buy. Do you get where I'm going with that? Why can I say 15% hold? Look, that's being so generous. For me, no, I wouldn't hold it. I wouldn't hold it with your money. But your money's your money. And I would say you'd give it one last chance. If it starts to close, say, beneath that level there, I'd be very concerned. And clearly, if it closes beneath 15, it is lights out on this one. I can't tell from the request whether it's for a long or a short, but you can see there from the percentages where I think it might be going. No need to look at that on the spreadsheet. From Colin, let's have a look at ALL, one of my favourite companies going around at the moment. Had a scare a couple of days ago. I don't know why. I didn't look at the news because I don't care what the news is. All I care about is we found a bunch of demand down there. So a couple of important points here. Excess demand. Okay, I know that because the shadow tells me that. And if you look at a shadow like this, the important thing is it starts out pretty awful, doesn't it? You would have been looking at that in the middle of the day and saying, well, this isn't good. I don't like the look of this, because you're seeing excess supply in the market up to that point. This is where the excess supply is. But by the end of the day, the bargain hunters came in and they did see a bargain. Do you know how I know they saw a bargain? Well, because the price didn't stay down there. We encountered excess demand from that low to push price up to here. And the next few days, I think we're fine. Okay. So this is a big important candle for us, because I do think as long as we stay above that low, we're okay. Now, that will depend on what we do up until that point, because if I start to see, because look at this, we've been pretty good. I know there was compression zone there, but if I start to see this sort of stuff, okay, I'm going to get a little bit concerned about it. That is, if we start to see a POS, well, POS is there, but we start to see a lower POS, because I can see a little bit of supply coming in this candle. Now, keep in mind that candle is a live candle. It is still trading. That update is probably an hour and a half old. I've got a little button here I can click and it will update it and it'll give me a new price. Hopefully what we'll see is how the body of that candle will change depending there we go, on what the demand supply dynamics are in the market. We see we are confirming that this area up here is indeed a point of supply. Why is that a point of supply? I don't know. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me why. Stop trying to figure out why stuff's happening. You can't. It just is. And if that candle closes there, I'm going to start to get concerned. Does that mean I start selling out of Aristocrat Leisure? No, I don't think so. The short-term trend is still good. I mean, let's not jump at shadows here. Long-term trend is fine, and this big demand candle is helping us. But I will start to watch it more closely. And if I'm having, if I'm seeing, dozens of other fantastic opportunities around the world, not just in Australia, but it might be in the US or in trading commodities or indices or Forex, I will really, really put the heat on Aristocrat and say, if you don't pick up your socks, mister, you're out of my portfolio because there's better stuff I can do with that money. I'm just going to scrutinize it more if it stops doing all the stuff I wanted to do. And to be fair, up to this point here, it was doing all the stuff we wanted to do. I think we can move on from that one. I think that one's done. Let's head to DYL, or I might head back to the Facebook because Jackson has been asking me this for over a month. Arafura rare earths. So I absolutely must do this for Jackson. Jackson, we've got some problems. And the biggest thing for me is all of those black candles. We've got this consistent excess supply in the market just nagging away. And I don't think Jackson has this one. I think in his note he said, look, I'm thinking of getting back into it. And there probably are many people, investors, thinking of getting back into it, but they're not. They're all waiting, they're all watching, they're all looking for that sign that tells them, oh, okay, maybe it's starting to go back up. And we're just not getting that sign. We've got lower peaks, lower troughs. I won't draw anything on the screen. I think it's self-explanatory. The trends, short-term trend is down. Long-term trend looks to be changing really from up to down. I will draw an arrow because what we tend to find is that once we stop being able to get above that long-term trend zone, it really tends to be quite sticky at pushing prices down. Okay, so do we need to get back into this right now, Jackson? I don't think so. Because Jackson has been so patient, I'm going to type this in here because I do think we might actually get some coverage on it. And if we don't, we'll move on. But let's just check it. We do. We've got two brokers, not many. But I did think that it was going to be profitable at some stage once, correct me if I'm wrong, Nolan's Creek, something like that, their rare earth project obviously gets up and running. Look, I can't give you a valuation on it, Jackson, because that profits so far into the future. But what I can tell you is that the brokers are very positive, all two of them, and they think it's worth 74 cents. One of them's at a strong buy, and two of them, somehow there's an extra one there, is at a buy. There are no other cells in the system. Okay, so that might help you make your decision. And that's all I'm here to do, ladies and gentlemen, is help you make decisions. Not to tell you what to do, that's always up to you. Let us keep moving. Let me check the other streamers because I'm sure they are banging on their tables to get questions answered. And Adonis, who's he's been following me forever. So I'll answer your KMD. Adonis, Kathmandu. It used to be Kathmandu, now it's just KMD. Looks half decent on this one. Maybe that's why Adonis is looking at it, because he's thinking, well, it's starting to turn the trend. Carl likes these ones. He likes these turnaround plays. What do we think? Short-term trend is up. That's good. Long-term trend, as we said, going from impeding price action. Ladies and gentlemen, you must hate me because I just keep saying the same thing over and over again. It must be very frustrating for you. But I think that's just like a blanket you can wrap yourselves in, is that Carl just keeps saying the same thing over and over again, and the stuff he's showing me keeps working, which is good. Maybe not as 100% there, but certainly 100% here. So that's always good. Now we're heading back up. But look at the candles. The candles bother me. In fact, the price action bothers me as well, Adonis. It's so scratchy. I don't think we've got this clear-cut decisiveness from the market, where markets are going, you know what, this is the time to get back into KMD. This thing is going to be rock and roll. I have to be in. I don't hate it. If you had it, I think you could hold it. I'd certainly be changing my tune if it closed below $1, but until then, it's okay. It's a bit ho-hum. If I had to give this a score out of 10, or I think it's a warm 6 out of 10. If I had to do my percentages, a hold is very, very strong. I'd go, hold is 50%. No, it's no. Look, I'm going to go hold 85%. I don't think about that. Buy, it's warmish, and then sell. At least sell is off the table. I don't think you would sell this one right now. Okay, unless you found something else that just looks so amazing, you had to go and do something better with your money. I do want to talk about Wisetech. I know I'm cherry picking here because I think this looks fantastic. It's been one I've called to buy many times in the past. Go check the tapes. Sometimes when I have to make a chart for Ausbiz, I have to go right click and delete all studies. So it does unfortunately remove my historical studies. But again, check the tapes. I've been very positive and it's doing very well. So I hope some people are on board. Not only have I covered it here, I've obviously been on Ausbiz and running this as feature charts. It's been a feature chart multiple times on my Twitter. If you don't believe me, let me just remind you where my Twitter is, and you certainly follow me if you're not following me. But if you want to check my track record and everything, just go WTC. See how I do that, WTC, and then just go at and type in my handle, and you'll have it. And then just go to latest up here, and you'll be able to see the last time So on the May the 12th, I ran Wisetech as one of my favourite charts with respect to trends, price action, candles, and I reckon that it might even have been a feature chart there. Maybe not on that particular day. I thought something else looked better on that day. But that's how you can go back and confirm or deny whether I'm any good at what I do. And, you know, really, I'm happy to stand by anything I say in these sessions. Happy holder, no reason to sell. I don't think we need to say any more than that, apart from the fact it is the bloody perfect chart. Okay, there's so many reasons to buy it, own it, and reasons to buy it in the past. I guess you're curious on that basis what the brokers are saying about it. So let's head over here and maybe undo that. Here we go, WTC. My hunch is we're not going to get screaming low value here. Oh, I was incorrect. Let us make sure everything matches up. I'm going to take that back to the default, and I'm going to go dynamic F, not dynamic H. And we can see we do have 14 brokers here. So these are Thomson Reuters Refinitiv Icon data. They go and survey 14 brokers, however many they can get their hands on, and ask the brokers about their key data points. They get the consensus for that by averaging out each of the brokers' estimates there. And we also get the historical data, so we can start to look at trends. We can see percentage changes here and a compound annual growth rate projected over the next three FYs really. This one's still going, 3 and a bit FYs of 31%. So that is spectacular growth going forward. The market average, 8, 9%, 7%, give or take. The market PE is about 15. So we're not paying the market PE, we're paying about 68 times earnings. So we're paying way more than the market PE because of the growth in there. And I suspect there's a quality element embedded into that as well. And you can be sure of that because if you look in the past through this line here, you can see that in fact investors have paid way more than 67. So normally we look at 67 and just go, well, that's eye-wateringly high. Like you'd never pay that. Well, yes, investors have. So you've got to decide if you're a 15 PE kind of person or you're a 25 PE kind of person. You've got to decide whether you want to take the leap of faith that the market is taking. Okay, and only you can decide that. We do have 14 brokers covering, as I said, and as I said, probably their price target's very low because the stock keeps going up and it exceeds their targets, and they have to reassess those targets and they'll tend to republish those. So watch that space. Their ratings. Let's see how we're going here. Strong buy 1, 7 buys. 6 holds 1 sell. I reckon they are on the wrong side of the market, but they're probably still banging in the desk, telling everybody that Wisetech is too expensive and lamenting the fact they don't own it. I just look at the chart. EPS line is at bottom left, top right. It certainly is through thick and thin, and it is expected to continue to do so. So we said 31% compound annual. Look, the question will be whether I think this is a reasonable PE going forward, and what this is the median of the current and the forward PEs. It's kind of what the market's expecting over the next few years. I think it's high. I think it's a bit high. I've told you many times I tend to tap out and cap out at about 40, okay, which, sorry, that's wrong. Let's go back to low. At 40s, here's where I want to go high growth. And you see that taps out at 40, which probably brings me back to the brokers. And that doesn't mean Wisetech's overvalued. And I'm so glad that occurred. It just tells me that, you know, I'm using a PE that's not dissimilar to many of these brokers, okay? And this should really, alarm bells should be ringing about fundamental analysis and fundamental analysts, because all they're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is guessworks and changing cells in a spreadsheet. And if I change this back to what the market's paying, and if you're comfortable to pay what the market's paying, or expecting, I should say, then it looks cheap. I can't see any red flags on screen. That's what my fundamental analysis is. Is there a red flag to tell me that I shouldn't be following the chart? And there actually isn't, okay? Who are we to suggest that our view of capping out at 40 is the right way to go? I just think when you start to, hold the market to your way of thinking, I just think that's so dangerous, because the market's going to do what the market's going to do. And I heard a particular value investor say very recently that the hardest thing, what was it? I tweeted it yesterday. The hardest thing is watching things go up, knowing they're too expensive, sort of thing. And I just say, don't be so miserable, Be in stocks for a good time, not a long time. With that in mind, let's find some stocks that are showing some good times here. Look, I want to talk about Carsales because I think it looks pretty good. Obviously not as good as Wisetech. You can see the compression. You can see that the candles aren't as decisive with compression in the price action, far more overlappy, but the trends are half decent, okay? So I think it's worth having a bit of risk here, dipping a toe in the water and seeing where it can go in an environment where the NASDAQ is going up. But maybe then you go, well, maybe I'll just buy some NASDAQ stocks. Tune in on Fridays. That's when we do NASDAQ stocks. But I think as far as what you're getting on the ASX, which is so little, let's face it, I think it looks fine. Today's candle's a bit disappointing, but I'm a happy holder here, okay? Can you add risk now? I think I just said that. I'm happy to add some risk. But keep in mind that if it starts to trade back beneath, I'd say sort of somewhere around there, we'd be saying, well, you know what, I dipped the toe in the water, and it didn't work out this time around. And that doesn't mean I can't dip another toe in at some stage, okay? And this is why you see me talking in terms of 1/3. It's not, oh, that looks amazing, dump all my cash on it, okay? I want to get in a little bit, and it doesn't matter, the best looking chart or the worst looking chart, I have the same model. And that is so counterintuitive, isn't it, to so many people who say, if you think it looks better, then load up. It's not the way I do things. I get in, if the stock continues to perform, I add more and I add more. If it stops performing, I take the risk off the table. I don't mind adding a bit of risk on Carsales. Okay, I better keep moving, because if you could see what I can see here, which is a list of requests, and a list of requests, we've got to step on it. Okay, Heaping wants RHC Ramsay Healthcare. I love this one because I can do it very quickly. Start counting to 20. There's nothing in here that is making me want to buy it. All I can see is supply, okay? Now, I know there are many talking heads out there telling you that this is the best company ever, but those talking heads aren't buying the company, are they? They're just talking. They're doing a lot of talking, but not a lot of buying, clearly. And what this thing needs is a bunch of buying to overwhelm the people who aren't talking. Yep, the people aren't talking. They're the scary ones. What are they doing? They're just selling, okay? Price action's rubbish, candles are rubbish, trends are rubbish. There's no reason to own Ramsay Healthcare. Sorry about that one in ping. SHL, however, I think looks better, but I was asked about this today from another person on Twitter, and hopefully I can kill the two birds with one stone here. This one is concerning. I know that we have had some action on this in the past. We were getting it around here, being we said exit up here. I think that was a very good call. And then we said if it closes beneath this level here, you'd be exiting. Look, it hasn't done it yet, and it's very simple. This one I can do very quickly as well. I reiterate, if we're starting to close beneath this level, and it could happen today, you're exiting another third of this position. And the most you would have on the basis that the long-term trend is still pretty good is 1/3. Okay. And you know, it might not be until you see something where it confirms lower peaks and lower troughs that you get your final 1/3, but that's in the future, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, Nick from I think Markets keeps tweeting at me here, so I better do some of the ones that he's asking for. Let's go to the chat. So many very patient people. Thank you very much. TNE from Peter. Let's have a look, TNE. Oh, wonderful. I reckon I gave you a bum steer here a little while ago, but what a great case study. Because I reckon that, look at this, minus 1/3. I said sell a third here. And what a silly thing that was to say for TNE. Okay, people would be saying, hey, Carl, you're a bloody idiot, mate. Told me to sell 1/3 there. But what I also said in the same breath is, look, we're getting out on the basis that it appears. Imagine, I mean, if that's all you can see, right? If that's all you can't see the future and be okay with that. We're starting to see potentially losing a bit of momentum. Okay, how many times have you seen these things? Oh, and then just keep going and the long-term change. We've seen hundreds of charts like that. Okay, didn't happen, turned back up. But in the same breath, I said sell 1/3. We're still hanging on to 2/3. We're keeping skin in the game, and looks like I covered it back here a little while ago, and we added a third back. I don't know what happened there because we weren't covering it, but bottom line is you would still have had some skin in the game. Happy holder here. No reason to sell it. Would I buy it? If the candle closes that good today, I would be happy to add some risk here. It's a little bit of a ways from the light green zone. Maybe we might find something else today that's a bit closer. But otherwise, this is a wonderful chart. It's a beautiful chart, and it screams to me, keeping risk in the game. And I wonder how many people would look at this chart and go automatically, this is amazing, I have to continue to own it or buy some more. And how many people would look at the Ramsay chart and go, oh, I don't want to own that. Because I think the way a lot of people think is, a lot of people, I'm going to type this on and then I'm going to take it off because I don't want to get people confused later on. We come here, a lot of people would say this is too expensive, right? This is too expensive, gone up too much, can't buy it now, right? A lot of people would look at that chart and say that, and yet they would look at Ramsay's chart, which has now completely disappeared, RHC, which is going to appear, there we go, and they would go, ooh, that looks cheap. Back up the truck, right? And yet I've told you the exact opposite. Okay, let us keep moving. Something is happening with uranium, says Ross. Ross and Josephine. Maybe Josephine's here as well. Or maybe Josephine's here and Ross isn't here. Okay, let's have a look at uranium. There's something happening with uranium. Boss Energy, I put that out as a feature chart the other day and I regretted it instantaneously. I think it's fine. Is something happening there? Not so sure, but I think it's fine. Let's do the uranium review, shall we? Uranium. I've got a little watch list in here. Let's go uranium. Start off with 92 Energy. Oh, that's interesting. Half decent. Nice little candle here. Rising points of demand. Okay. Any volume coming in? No volume. No, I'm going to pass on that one. I don't think there's anything to see here just yet. But if you've got it, looks better than it did not that long ago. Let's keep going. ACAP Energy looks horrific. I can't see any reason for me to own it. Alligator Energy, ditto. Anson, half decent, not interested. This one, unfortunately, has died and doesn't look like it's coming back. Berkeley, Boss, we've talked about. Deep Yellow. I think somebody asked about Deep Yellow. I answered killing two. This actually looks really good. I don't mind this one. So out of the ones I think you can buy now, I think this is a specky buy. It is super, super speculative. No more than plus 1/3 for me, but happy to do this, right? Happy to just dip the toe in the water, knowing full well that because it's deep yellow, that toe is probably going to get chopped off. Because if you've been trading deep yellow for any period of time, you don't have many toes left, let's face it. But I'm going to go plus 1/3. Let's put a caveat on that and say that it closes, because I want to see a white candle today. I don't want to see that shadow grow too much, okay? And there's a little bit of a shadow there already. So that close there is 65.5. Look, for me, it's got to close today. Let's say if it closes greater than 0.655, okay? I want to see at least a white candle today. Let us keep going. I'm going to skip a few of these. We won't do them all because it takes too long. Elevate, nothing to see here. Nothing going on there, okay? And I know many people will be screaming at their screens. These lithium bulls, you're a bunch of weirdos, let me tell you. But they are constantly bullish on lithium, no matter how bad lithium is and no matter how bad lithium stocks are. And they're going to tell me, no, this is a good one, Carl. I'm going to say it might be a good one, but nobody believes you. Okay, and when everybody's starting to believe you, that's when I'm going to believe it as well. Actually, Paladin, something's going on here. Okay, not bad. I like this price action, actually. Today's shadow, see the shadow? That's a problem. So that's why I'm not rushing. Oh, there is no shadow. That's just a line I draw on the chart. Okay, let's say if it closes, we obviously did some analysis on this in the past. If it closes so far today, the high is 70.5. Look, it needs to close near the high. Let's say close greater than 70, but near the high, right? Then I can see a reason to do plus 1/3, dip a toe in the water. And that is even in advance of it closing above that point of supply. Because I think it's okay to go a bit early. Again, it's just the toe. I think it's going to happen. And if that does happen, then all that other money is going to come in. And that's why I don't mind just dipping the toe when I see a nice signal in advance of some of these breaks of points of supply. Some will say, oh no, you have to wait for us. By the time it gets there, we're going to have a big white candle. I'm going to miss too much of the move. So I'll dip a toe here. If I see it, then I'll add some more. Okay, but I'll get some skin in the game. Okay, maybe Ross is onto something. Peninsula. Let me go here, zoom. No, look, it's better than many of the other ones. Silex, I called a buy last time we looked at it on this candle here. Okay, you would have had a couple of days of flip-flopping around, but I still think that looks fine. So happy to continue to own that one. Would I buy some more? Yeah, I can't see any reason why you can't buy some. Go check the tape. I'm not cheating. Go check the tape, and I'd go plus 1/3 here because I still think there's more in that one. No, that's a dud. That's a dud. I know we're getting through a few here. T92 is quite new, isn't it? No, nothing to see here, and no point looking at the rest of those. That is your hashtag lithium review for the lithium nuts out there. Emphasis on the word nuts. Okay, let's go to a gold nut here, DE ones, RSG. I think we've done a fair bit on gold already, haven't we? So let's go RSG. Still looks fine. I've said in the past, you can see here, plus 1/3, plus 1/3. This is my preferred gold exposure. I felt it was the cheapest gold company out there. And it's actually held up really well despite the gold, but we cannot just assume something's going to go up forever. We can see it's under pressure now. Have there been any signals to start to knock out some of these 1/3? You can see in the past, I've said if it closes beneath 43, that's where you do it. I think we can move that up a little bit now. So let's go copy paste and go into here. And I would say if we're closing beneath that low there, 44.5, I think you are exiting a third, and then maybe wait for the 43 for the next one. So let's go close less than 0.435 equals minus 1/3. Okay, but happy holder until then. If you were really, really nervous, you could do it a third before that, but otherwise, no troubles. REH still looks very, very good. We've talked about adding a third to this in the past. No reason why you can't continue to hold on to that if you did, and I can't really see any reason why you wouldn't be dipping a toe in the water on this. I think it looks very good. Short-term trends, speak for themselves. Long-term trend trending up, and we're seeing a little bit of compression in this zone. Probably, I'm guessing, because there's a bit of a supply zone in the past. That makes sense. Look, targets. I think we could see $20 on this one. So happy holder on that. You can tell I'm starting to push through some of these. We might not end up back at the spreadsheet again, just in the interest of getting through. This is Brendan asking for Linus. I know a very popular company. And I've told you to sell it in the past, haven't I? Sell. And again, you're going, Carl, you're a complete moron. Beneath 606, sell some more. I didn't get there, but certainly through here, sell. I did say if it does these things that you could buy it. I wouldn't say it necessarily did. Maybe this candle was, to be fair. But where are we now? Well, let's look at the price action. We're compressing beneath a zone of supply, which is obvious. Okay, this is the big problem. I would suggest until we either throw in a big white candle just in lieu of that, or close above it, that you would just be on the sidelines here. This is a very important level under here, so watch out for it. If we close beneath that, I think it's going back down again. Look, this last candle is very good. Is it enough to draw me into a third? Look, let me just say, if we can get this white candle to close above here, or if the next day it does it, then I could see a reason for doing it. I think you can have a really well-defined trade. It's quite binary, entering around here. Let me just draw it in. So, it might look something like this, for example. And, however it looks, right? Something like that. So something like that might be today, might be tomorrow. But I think that's starting to look okay, because basically, if you look at sort of your entry price here, let's say your entry is sort of defined by say, somewhere around here, all right? And your stop is going to be red, somewhere sort of under here, and then your target, well, I think at least, if you look up, we can see sort of an area around here where there's going to be some supply. I think we'll get, 1-to-1 out of it. So look, if you see the candle, I'll go plus 1/3, and I'll just write in here, if you see the candle, basically. Look, the good news is for you, Brendan, I don't think it's a sell anymore. Okay, it's a very solid hold, and it's just a matter of now if it does the right thing, then we can add some risk to it. But it's a high risk play because of the barrier that long-term trend will present, but that's why we're not looking to put the whole hog in. Okay, I need to keep moving. Let's go Robo and ACDC. This one is for John, ROBO. I still think it's fine. No complaints there. I've been tweeting about these and happy to stick with them. There's, they're throwing in the right candles, the right price action, the right... it could be a little bit of slow going, and a lot of it's going to depend on probably what happens on the NASDAQ. But yeah, no complaints there. ACDC looks even better, but it might look worse if I double click on that. No, it's fine. That's probably one of the best charts I've seen today, John. So yeah, one of my favorite ETF charts out there. Very, very, very solid. So happy holder there. Could you continue to add risk to this one? Yes, you can. And look, I started tweeting and I reckon somewhere around here, but let's just put 1/3 on that one. And Robo, just so we can remember what we've done. Again, it's been in the tweets, but let's go plus 1/3 on that one as well. So there are no confusions later on when we continue to track it. From Brett, sticking with the gold theme, Perseus, and again, we can see here the importance of you continuing to do analysis. I know I'm not here. Look at that. As I said, well, minus 1/3 there, probably. But I think there were many places to get out before this, and I know Brett doesn't want to hear that. Brett's thinking, well, mate, I can't do anything about that now. Like, whoop-de-doo, if you tell me that it started to throw in lower points of supply, that it started to take out points of demand, that the candles were in fact horrific, and just made it bloody obvious that I should have got out, Carl, because that's kind of useless to me. I'm still in it, mate. So, you know, just tell me what I should do now. Hey, does it look any better than it did back then? I mean, are the signs any less obvious, Brett, that we're seeing excess supply in the system? I don't think they are. So the answer to your question is, well, it was good to sell back then. It still looks good to sell now. In fact, it probably looks even better to sell as it's cracking through the long-term trend. And this is where Brett goes, okay, well, fair enough, fair call. I should have. I know I didn't, I should have, and I should do it now. Okay, but I won't do it now, Carl, because I know as soon as I sell, see, Carl, you don't know me that well, right? But let me just tell you a little bit about Brett, okay? This is what Brett does, okay? Brett is amazing at turning around stocks. I can assure you, Carl, that as soon, right, as Brett sells, right, this is the candle. This is going to happen, right? This thing is going to get taken over by Barrick Gold at $2.55. I can assure you, right? This is what I do, Carl. Brett, I don't think that's true, okay? Just between you and me. It is possible, however. It is possible that you do sell, all right, and that happens. But let's talk about probabilities, all right? Not possibilities, let's talk about probabilities. The probability suggests, based upon that price action, that trend, those candles, that's probably going to keep going down. And again, this is the problem, isn't it? None of us know the future, okay? So what do you want to deal in? Possibilities or probabilities? That's not CSL. I don't know how we got there, but actually, what the hell was that? Okay, Silk Laser, obviously being taken over, but holy dooly. Look at that thing today. Let us go to CSL, which is nowhere near as interesting as that. And who asked me about this? David. Now, I can't remember, was it Perry? Was told not to ask me about this until it closes above 315. So, David, you might have missed that, but you're on notice too. Don't ask me about CSL until it closes above 315. It looks very good. Happy holder there. If you want to add some risk, no problem adding risk. But every time I tell you to add risk on CSL, it goes down. So keep that in mind. Okay, Nick's mentioning a live event we want to do in July. It might get moved to August now, Nick. That's the only reason why I didn't put the slide in. Okay, so until I get confirmation from the powers that be, and the powers that be are often a long way away in thick markets. Okay, we have an Australian office here, but we are an office of a business that is global. Okay, so let me just answer your question there, Nick. And for people who have registered interest, we're going to do it. We just have to be mindful that the dates might change. But that's why I asked for a registration of interest. Okay, Xero. We have to do Xero, and I know I'm running out of time. Okay. I heard today again somebody say, "Oh, look, we're going to take some profits on Xero." We got into Xero and we're taking some profits because it's always good to take profits when things go up. Contrast that with me. There's no reason. Please look, and again, this is a live candle. That last candle is live. Anything could happen. It could turn into a horrible big black candle. But as long as it stays like that or better, I cannot see a shred of evidence to sell a single share of Xero. Okay, so for me, as I told you on this day here, happy holder, don't sell any, don't sell any, don't sell any. I'm going to go ditto today. I can't see any reason. Can you see any reason to sell it? I can't. So if there's no reason to sell something, then don't sell it. If there's no reason to buy something, don't buy it or don't own it. Now, I'm going to be really attentive to how the candles start to throw in around about 120. If you start to see those upper shadows or those black candles, what does a black candle look like? It looks like that one. What does an upper shadow look like? Well, look at these. These are classic right there. If I start to see those, up here, then I'll start to be worried. But until then, I'm going to trust the market. That's really all this is about. It's just trusting the damn market. Stop trusting yourself. How's that working out for you? Just trust the market. Okay, where am I going? I need to do these Facebookers here. Vulcan. I can do this in 10 seconds. Ian on the Facebook. That looks bloody awful. Like I said, I wouldn't touch it with your money, mate. Should you get out right now because you probably bought it at $12 and now you're going at $4? Look, I'm going to lose so much on this car. Why? I can't get out now. Okay, well, it could go to 40 cents, mate. Again, I don't know what's going to happen next, but all I can tell you is that as much hype as there was around this one and some of the major shareholders, that's all hype, mate. What's happening is people are selling hand over fist. Hey, could it do this tomorrow? And always cover my backside by saying this, yeah, it could, but I can't see it happening. 0% on the buy, 0% on the hold. For me, it's 100% on the sell. Let's go to Teti NHE. It's not that one. Click that and try it again. NHE. Look, Teddy, I can see a reason to hold it. These two white candles are important and they are impressive. Look, if it continues to build with the price action, Teddy, so if it starts to kind of look like this shape here, watch for this shape, then I think you can really take it very seriously as a potential buy. I'm guessing because you asked, you've probably got it, so I can go hold, but there are some major issues here, mainly just the predominance of black candles, people wanting to get out. The trends aren't fantastic, but the two white candles gives it a reprieve. I can go hold. I'm going to go to probably a different Brett here, Yancoal, very popular. Glad I'm on this because it gives me the ability to do something like this because I know a lot of people love this stock, and I'm going to go minus 1/3 on this one. I think there's enough evidence there to lighten the load. And I totally accept that you need to take all of this price action through here, right, and shift it up to about here, right, because of the dividend. And the dividends on these stocks are massive. So I do see those in my mind's eye, but I still think there's just too much of this stuff going on to warrant holding the whole position, because if you do that, I believe you are ignoring what the market is telling you about this company. So I'm going to go minus 1/3 on Yancoal. Hey, does that mean sell everything? No, it doesn't. Now, I'd be watching it very carefully to continue to step out of it if it doesn't do the right things. But that's not looking like a company who's showing excess demand. Rural funds is even worse, and one of the worst charts we've seen. I totally accept it might be cheap, but I tell you what, nobody believes it is. Nobody who's trading on a daily basis, that is. Just people who have got it and owned it at $3 and now at 180 say, oh, this must be cheap. Or people are looking at the dividend yield, and maybe the dividend yield's up to 12% now, I don't know, but they're all historical earnings. And IPL, look, hey, it got cheaper the other day, didn't it? But I think, it's not for me. So there's, sorry about that one there, Brett, but it's not my style. I think you need a value investor, and you need to ask them about some of these value stocks, and they will give you a very different opinion. I'm not sure if we put Arizona Lithium into the value category. Hey, I love to trade these things when they're hot, when everybody's tweeting about them, whenever they're in all the chat rooms, and the sector's pumping. I don't think the sector's that bad. I think the sector's good, and I think it highlights just how bad this one is. Because if the sector's pumping and this can't even get a pulse, that's a concern. I can go hold on the basis that we've got a nice white candle there, but really there's so little in this to keep me clinging to a hold. And you have to wonder what your capital's doing here with so many other charts we've seen today that's looking half decent. That one's for Anthony. I'm going to go to Darren for FBM, which is not that one, FBM, and maybe I can't find it, so I'll keep going. AIS, which is, I know, very popular. Copper company. If you're following on Thursdays, we've been looking to short copper. Copper price has gone down, hasn't helped this one. I think with these candles here, this is encouraging, but you can see the short-term trend zone is offering dynamic resistance. We're in a long-term downtrend. This is horrific. We really haven't come back from this huge sell-off. It's not like it got to 45 cents and it's been overwhelming buying because it's so cheap. You're not seeing that. I can hold it on the basis that we continue to trade above here, but I would suggest to you, and it's just a suggestion, that if it closes beneath that low there, so close less than 0.435 equals minus the 1/3. Okay, but you had so many reasons to get out before this that no doubt we've talked about in these sessions. I do want to talk about JB Hi-Fi because I think the chart, well, it was 2 days ago, starting to look pretty good. I don't know what happened here. Okay, I don't know. but that does change things for me. So if you had been holding JB Hi-Fi on the basis of the fact that it was starting to look really interesting as a turnaround play, I like all these candles. I don't like that candle. This candle worries me. This one here, this candle concerns me. Okay, I don't like it. It makes today crucial. If we can get back into the top of that range very quickly, everything's okay. If this candle ends up being a failure, and we cannot even close halfway up yesterday's range, I think the safest thing to do is to shoot first and ask questions later. Okay, so if we can't close greater than halfway up, it would be Monday's range. And I know there's a spelling mistake in there, but you get where I'm going with that. DSK, Dusk DSK, another one of those retail stocks, which I don't think requires any further explanation, except to say that, hey, value investors, that's a screaming buy, isn't it? Screaming buy if you're a value investor, of which I am not. Okay, I think you know my opinion on that. Look at the black candles. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about takeaway points in these sessions, and here's a takeaway point. If you see black candles every day, it means somebody really hates this company. I mean, hates it with a passion, so much so that even while the market's going up, and you can see quite often the market has gone up here, they're just selling like crazy. Please, please, please detune your brain from all the noise you hear out there and retune it into just following the bloody trends. Okay, how am I going for time? I'm getting very close. Please stop typing in new ones, by the way, and I will try to get to everybody that has typed something in. Hanelli, let's go here and, see, we didn't even get, look at this, Hanelli. We were watching in here, weren't we, to sell, because we said that in here was the, we said here was your minus 1/3, didn't we? That was your obvious signal there, but we said that this is your species ending event, and it's pretty rare you come back from those. And we're saying, look, if you get a little bit of a rally into here to sell, and you haven't got it, I can't see. Maybe the long-term trends are reason to hold some, but this is not looking like, if it can't bounce quickly, it's less likely to bounce at all. I'm not a buyer, and I don't want to be an owner of this one. Sometimes you just have to take that medicine and move on, because think of your emotional. You're not just investing financially in this one, you are investing emotionally. All the time it takes to watch this one and all that emotional input to check it. Oh, it's not going up again. Oh, it's going down again. Oh, it's starting to look good, and then you check it's gone down again. Is it worth it? I mean, we talk about, is something worth investing in from a financial standpoint, but is it worth investing in from that emotional standpoint as well? De Grey, total disappointment to me. This is one that I told a lot of people to buy all over the place, and it hasn't worked out. But what you don't see when I get up there on Ausbiz, whatever, and put a chart up, is that there is a responsibility to practice what I'm preaching, which is when the price action changes, it is your job, not my job, because I don't manage your shares. You manage your shares. Don't blame me if something goes wrong. Blame yourself, okay? Now, you can blame me if I didn't teach you how to do it, but I have taught you how to do it. It's because we know that when these points of supply start to appear, right, and they start to be lower than the other ones, right, what you get invariably between these peaks, go to Switzerland, ladies and gentlemen. And if you look on that side and there's a mountain up there, and if you look on that side and there's a mountain up there, there's a pretty good chance you're standing in a valley, right? So between these POSs, you've got a pod, and those pods are wonderful, because if we start to, again, we're in the Swiss Alps, start to close beneath those pods, you got problems, okay? And you're going down to the ocean. Where's the ocean? Somewhere down here, who knows, okay? So very clear-cut signals to exit here. If you've still got it, we're in the Perseus boat. What do you do from here? You do the analysis, okay? Win, lose, draw. You do the analysis, and you make a call based upon what you can see. That's all you can do, ever. EVN, let's go. Well, we're doing a lot of gold. Hey, this one's held up really well, but I'm seeing signs that we do have some problems, okay? So would I be holding the full complement of EVN shares that I added up to this point? No, I don't think so. I don't think it warrants it. I would have, I reckon, taken some money off the table and just see how we go. But I'm still holding, because this is very strong. I'm still holding 2/3. I think I'm up 2/3 on this one. So what I wanted to write, up 2/3. I'm so used to writing 1/3, up 2/3 on this one, holding that on the basis of the long-term trend. But I do think you have to take some messages from the market, and it doesn't look as bad as any of the other ones, but I think that's the best way to go, okay? If in doubt, get out. You can always get back in. How are we going here? That was for Genevieve. IAG looks really good. Happy holder here. I've never seen me draw is that blue or purple? I'm colorblind, but I've never drawn that before. That's amazing. Who drew that one? We looked at this. I'm glad I can see it, because I would have said on that day, look, here's how you set up the trade. It looks good. And look what it did. It is the nature of IAG to be rubbish. If you don't believe me, look at that chart. It is just so overlappy. The price action is atrocious. Having said that, I can see a good reason to hold on to it. If you've been suffering through it, it looks good. Short-term trend, long-term trend, candles look great. We're going to see some supply in here. So just watch out for you there, King, what happens in that zone. Okay, obviously watching for the candles we don't want to see in there. King actually saying he doesn't own it. King, I'm not sure if you want to get yourself into that sort of trouble, right, on IAG. It's horrific. Hazer looks half decent. This one's for Therese. I don't mind it. It's gone a little bit quiet after this rally, but that's okay. That's what they do. That stuff goes quiet for a while. It digests the supply from people who thought this thing was never coming back. All right, never coming back. Okay, all the people who bought it up here and who bought it up here and who lamented that decision all the way down through here. Oh, it's gone up. I need to get the hell out. Okay, we need to work through that supply. Now, if demand is sufficient to sustain, to absorb that supply, we're going to see this happening. So this is okay. This is fine. What I want to see is the big flourish, right? The big, we're back on again candle. And it's going to look like this. And until I see that, I can hold it, but I'm certainly not going to be looking to buy it. And let's, like if you see this exclamation mark, then I could go plus 1/3, but not until then for you, Therese. I've done Sonic for you, Stuart. Newcrest and Newmont takeover, and the recent sell-off in gold holds or get out. Well, I can look at Newcrest. Stuart, you had to do something already, Stuart. Okay, so and it would have been through here. Make yourself do stuff. So through here's 1/3, minus 1/3. I'm not here every day of the week, right? The price action's heading down. Look, I don't know. I don't know. $1 million question. Where's that going to go tomorrow? I don't know. But I can say the supply-demand dynamics are not ideal. Okay. But a great question. These are all great questions. They're all very interesting stocks. Novonix is dead. It's toast. It's toast. Would I add a third? No. It's quote Peter. Is it premature? Yes. It's premature. No. Not for me. You can do whatever you want. EZZ, how are we going for time? Horrific for time. EZZ, this looks very interesting. I like this one. Something's going on there. I could buy it, but it's the same as the other one, which is Hazer. Okay, so again, let's see that big, we're getting going again candle. Until then, nothing to see here, nothing to do here. If you've got it, hold it because you're waiting for that. So look, again, should I write it in? If you see this candle, right, plus 1/3. Okay, until then, nothing to do there. Talg, I'm very close to the bottom of the list, TLG. No, I don't think this one's going to happen, unfortunately, Helen. Too many black candles. Price action's not good. Look, this is kind of your only hope on this one is that holds. But beneath that, it's lights out. And again, it's one of those. In the past, we might have said dip a toe in the water. In fact, to be fair, it looked amazing here. I would have said any day of the week to buy there. Any day of the week. And I probably did if you tuned in on that day of the week. I would have said buy it. Didn't turn out. I don't get it right every time. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm sure you have. A4N. Oh, okay. I'm glad we looked at this. It's one we've talked about adding risk to in the past, many times, in fact. And we're really looking for an exit. Look, if this candle closes here, I'm so glad. Who's this? Jimmy. Awesome. And let's read Jimmy's comment here. Please review A4N. For those who have shares, should it be a minus 1/3 event? He's speaking my language. Or is it an opportunity to get in for those who do not have stock? No, I can't see the get in, Jimmy. All I can see is the get out. Look at this. Look at that big shadow there. I wish I had a different color on those. But anyway, this is the problem here. So herein is your problem. Here is confirmation of your problem. Here is another confirmation of your problem. And here is another problem which gets confirmed here. It just looks like too many problems to me. There's your big POS. Okay. There's your confirm of POS. Okay. There's your next POS, which is lower. Okay. And this candle today, if it closes like that, Okay. Minus 1/3, clear cut here. In fact, I'm so concerned about that setup. I'd almost go minus 2/3 on that and only keep 1/3 here. That's just what I would do, Jimmy. You've got to decide what you're going to do. Let us go to AGL. Has AGL turned the corner? Yeah, it's in the corner ages ago, Nicola, but it still looks very, very good. I'm happy with this one. And yeah, look, I could easily, happily plus 1/3 here. No issues at all. I think it looks great. From Anonymous RUL, I suspect is another just amazingly valued stock here. Just swimming in value, but it's not for me. Is it a buy? No, I'm a pass. Thanks, John, for putting your name in. No, the trends are horrific. I know this is frustrating in these sessions because you kind of know what I'm going to say about stuff, but just ask the question. Peter said something was for a short, not a long. Good. Thank you. Credit Corp, maybe. Opening a third sell position. I agree. I think I've done everybody's questions. Stop typing them in. PH2, GTK. Oh. It's obviously a takeover. It must be a takeover. Look, I don't know. Without knowing the specifics of the takeover, maybe take some off the table on that basis, but keep some skin in the game. You never know. Okay, Jackie's asking for minus 1/3. Yeah, I think minus 1/3, Jackie, isn't crazy, is it? This is very good. Happy holder here. I know we've said plus 1/3 in the past. Let me type on the screen again plus 1/3 because based upon that candle, assuming it closes nice and white like that, I do think this is another plus 1/3. I'm loath to leave anything out because we're getting great suggestions. I'm a plus 1/3 here. So if I left that out, we wouldn't have this. And we've looked at so many of these tiny stocks, obscure stocks that people have forgotten about. They need to do this. I think this is really neat, but it is 100% this sort of stuff here. And if you lose money on this, don't blame me, okay? It is a speculative trade. You're adding some risk, but it doesn't mean we can't continue to add risk if it starts to continue to go in the right direction. I'm done. I reckon we're good. I reckon that's it. We're going to call it quits there. We're going to head back to the presentation and say, oh, there it is there. I was supposed to take that out. What's in here, Nick? We might need to change the dates, but all we're looking for is an expression of interest. Say, hey, look, I want to come and hang out with Carl live in person. Tell him about all the money he's cost me, but also want to meet Kel, who's a very good and old friend of mine. And it's worth turning up just to see Kel. You've never seen anybody like him. And Jason, of course, cannot undersell Jason McIntosh from Motion Trader. The way to register your interest is say, send that email to Nick Coulson there at thinkmarkets.com. Say, hey, Nick, I will be there. It doesn't matter when you hold it, where you hold it, I'm there. If you are not a register for all the webinars, that goes without saying. If you're not a client of Think Markets, you should be, of course. We are the best in the business. We have everything you need to trade, whether it be shares from a low flat rate, CHESS sponsored, or CFDs, trading anything from all over the world. We have the best platforms, the best customer service, and we've won plenty of awards, and we've got offices all over the world, as I said earlier on, and we're regulated all over the world. So your money is safe with us. www.thinkmarkets.com/au. If you're watching me on any of the streaming services, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay notified of my regular video updates, and please hit the thumbs up button to let me know you like what I'm doing so I'll continue to do more of it. I had so much fun today. Hopefully you did too and learned lots along the way. All the best until we catch up again. Bye-bye for now. Before you go, don't forget everything we've talked about today is general in nature. It has not taken into account your personal financial circumstances or particular needs. So before acting upon any of this general advice, consider it carefully or seek the help of a financial professional. It's important you know about Think Markets and all the stuff we do and we don't. So head to our website and download our product disclosure statement.